Hey guys, so I know I said that I won't make a video until I finished my exams, but I decided that I just wanted to sit down, have a real talk with you guys about stuff in my life, about things I want to share, and for about the topic of this video, and that is about the hero's journey and building discipline in the Shire. Now, it's the title of the video. Now, what do I mean by that? So, recently, I've been reading and watching a lot of Lord of the Rings. I've been just rewatching movies when I was studying. You know, I have these 3 hours, 4 hours blocks studying, then break, then 2 hours of studying, then break, something like that. And just when I have those breaks, I watch some clips of the movies and read in my spare time. I bought the trilogy, and it's going to take a while until I read it, but I was kind of inspired by Elisha Long to start reading fantasy books, not just self-improvement. So, and as you can probably guess that this video is just inspired by Elisha Long. I've just, when I took this break from YouTube, which is a break, it's still I was studying, I wasn't just resting, sitting on my ass, but let's say this break from YouTube, I was watching a lot of Elisha Long videos as well. And if you guys go and watch Elisha Long, like right now, maybe after watching this video, but I think he's one of those YouTubers that I don't even, I'm not even comfortable calling him a YouTuber. I guess by definition, but he's like above that. He's about sitting down, you know, just off, no script, probably has no script, I don't know. It just sounds natural. And he just sits down, gives men advice, gives them information, and that's pretty much it. No flashy stock footage, no flashy thumbnails, you know, like Matt Diavella, Joey from Better Ideas, Captain Sinbad, people like that, not knocking them, but you know, he just seems like that guy who just, like David Goggins, for example. You know, you have all these athletes, but that, or people on social media that flex and stuff like that. But David Goggins, although he puts stuff on social media, I don't think he uses it himself. I think it's his wife or something like that. But he just, you know, he's a beast. You know, he's out there somewhere, just running, and that's how I feel with Elisha Long, you know. And I've kind of got inspired to start doing that as well. So there are a couple of reasons for that. First of all, it's because I want to learn how to speak English, although I consider myself good at it in just these on the spot situations like this, but I want to be better at it. And also, I just want to be real with you guys. I want to start being more relatable, not some guy who just, here's 5 no-fap tips, this, and footages. Not, I don't want to just appear to look cool. I want to just have information, sit down, just share how I feel, my information, what I've learned with you guys, and we can all grow together. I think that's the aim of Elisha Long's channel, and I want that aim to be for my channel as well. So let's get back to the topic of this video, and that is to just build discipline in the Shire and the hero's journey. So the Shire, if you guys don't know, if you haven't watched Lord of the Rings, which I would recommend to go and watch or read, it's easier to watch, but the Shire is where it's the main starting point where Frodo leaves with Sam. He essentially to just take the ring and destroy it. So Shire is the safe place. There's grass everywhere, you know. People in the book, I haven't finished the first part, but in the book, in at the start there somewhere, it says that they don't, in the Shire, they don't even lock doors at night because it's safe. There's no danger, you know. That's like told in that way, that it's just a safe place, and Frodo knows it. Frodo just lives there, and when his Bilbo Baggins leaves, I think it's his grandpa or uncle, something like that. Sorry if I don't get that right, but he leaves. You know, then Gandalf approaches Frodo about the ring, and the adventure starts from there. So that's the hero's journey. I actually have this on my wall, put out. I'm not gonna put the camera here, but it's the cycle. I'm gonna put it on the screen. So it's the cycle where the hero has the call to adventure, and the call to adventure is like Gandalf says, this ring is dangerous, you need to destroy it, you need to get out of this comfort of the Shire and leave into unexplored territory and destroy the ring. So here's that supernatural aid, the Gandalf, you know, but he's still in the known territory. He hasn't left the Shire yet, the Frodo. So there are the threshold guardians for the known and the unknown. And when he leaves the Shire, it's the threshold. He steps over the threshold, and that's the beginning of the transformation. You know, you see the helper, the mentor. You can say that elves helped him later on in the book, at least. Gandalf also. There are the challenges and temptations, which is just the journey itself. You know, he's tempted by the ring. He's tempted to put it on. He's tempted to just get rid of it, to give it to someone else, to not carry this burden. These are the challenges that he faces. Then, death or revelation, rebirth. Yeah, abyss. Abyss is that, in my understanding, that like the bottom of those challenges and temptations. But that's where it's like chaos, as Jordan Peterson puts it, order and chaos, you know. From chaos, then comes order. So when Frodo is just at his lowest point, I'm not sure where it is in the films or the movies, kind of maybe when he loses Sam for a bit because he accuses him of eating the lambas bread. So it's the abyss, and from the abyss there's the transformation there, and from transformation we have atonement. So I think it's atonement, I'm not sure even of the English word. I think it's when you hold on to that new transformation. That's my idea of it. Yeah, so and then he returns. I don't think he returns to the Shire. I think he, at the end, I'm not gonna spoil the end if you guys don't know about the movie. But whatever, I'm gonna spoil it. So just be warned. You watch the movie, okay? So he returns. I think he's like affected really by the ring. He's affected by that burden, you know. He's not the same as he was. He's more of a man, but not the same. I guess Lord of the Rings is not the complete analogy for the hero's journey, for our example here, for the real life. So what do I mean by building discipline in the Shire now when I explain the hero's journey? The hero's journey seems to be that you get the call to adventure, you just go and you act. You know, you leave your home. But for some of us, it's not that easy. It's not something that just you can do, you know. Elisha Long in his videos, you know, he preaches about, you know, leaving home, just finding a job, which is perfect. And it's really good for men. But let's say in my example, 6 months ago, I was still working in that pizzeria job as a pizza boy. You guys probably know this story and where I worked. But then I moved out of my parents' house, and it was this kind of emotional move. Didn't think it through enough, which I think it was a good experience. But then 3 months later, I moved back in because I thought that I was going to change the relationship. I moved out because our relationship is bad and it's still bad, but I thought that I could make it better if I moved back in. I think it was a weakness of the moment. But when I moved out, I was living in this small box, not used because I'm used to this bigger room. I lived in a small room. It's not. I think I would have. I would have done okay if I would live in an apartment, but it's kind of impossible to do it with a minimum wage job. And if you want to, let's say, do YouTube as well, you would just have to take 2 jobs, I think, to just, or you may get lucky on a deal to have to rent an apartment, because yeah, it's with minimum wage, it's not really possible in my opinion. Yeah. So I was living in a room and I shared this kitchen and the bathroom with this old woman who lived next door. She's a nice lady, but yeah, it was just this small room. I couldn't breathe. And I started to gain weight, I remember. And I was depressed, I was lonely. Because in here, even though I don't have a good relationship with my family, loneliness, when I sit here and I can hear some of the sounds from downstairs of my family, it's not the same as being actually alone. Actually, although I could hear, let's say, my roommate, whatever I could call it, that old woman in her apartment room, just doing stuff. It's not the same as family, It's just safe here. But what is my message with this video is that let's go back. So why I moved back in, okay? I then decided to start to retake my high school exams. That is like 2 years after I graduated, because I took 2 gap years, let's say. First of all was travel around, which was not that productive, although it was good. But then I got a job and it was productive from there. So it's like 1.5 years was productive of those 2 gap years. So I think that's pretty good. But I decided to start studying to retake my exams to get in psychology. And my exams are in like 2 weeks time until I pass all of my exams. I think the first one is like in 6 days or something like that. So I decided to study for that, and it wasn't this emotional decision to just study because everybody's studying and I don't feel safe. It's not about that. It's not about that I lost interest in YouTube. I still love YouTube. I still love doing this. Still like creating stuff. I'm still going to get a job. Minimum wage, because I can't get anything better now until I graduate, let's say, and get a better job. But it wasn't this impulse decision like it was when I just finished high school. I was just pushed by my parents and everybody to study, and then I went into art school, which is absolute garbage. Art school, you can see what kind of people go there. I'm not knocking on anybody. There's probably a lot of productive art people out there. But at least in my case, I went with these beta males and these women who just go there. You can see in them that they haven't experienced real life. And I'm not gonna sit here and explain that I have all these struggles and I couldn't pay the bills, and I say Eminem stuff. No. I have my own problems. I would think of myself that I've experienced more real life than most of my peers, but that's not the same. Still, in that type of, I was an outcast. These people were all these, those artsy people. I'm not talking about how you just creative. There's a difference between a creative person and an art person, I think. But I just when we started studying art history, like I'm going in this school for 4 years. It's not even free for me. I would have to borrow money from my parents to go in this program. And when I get out, what do I get? I go into the real world, and then it appears that my diploma is not worth anything, because when you actually, if you want to thrive creatively, you have to produce, and you can't produce right now like I'm doing now, like filming, taking photos, freelance stuff like that. That's how you get into the game. I've learned everything: photography, video making, recording, editing, uploading, YouTube stuff, YouTube CEO stuff like that. Everything on YouTube, everything on the internet. You don't need to go 4 years into art school. In my opinion, people go there just to feel safe because their parents are still paying for everything and they can just drink, and that's pretty much it. But right now, when I decided to go study for psychology, not even sure if I'm gonna pass it. I'm sure I'm gonna pass it, but of course there's always possibility that I won't. And I'm going to be sad for a while if I don't, because I've been studying really hard for it. But psychology, I actually now have a vision, a real goal, like it was with YouTube, you know. With YouTube, I put everything in it. I was working in the pizzeria so I wouldn't be a slave to my parents. I was still living in the same roof, but I could actually just, if you go and find a job, and you're still living with your parents, you're gonna get more respect, and you're gonna feel more independent, and that new responsibility is going to make you a better man. And I really feel that it did for me. But psychology, I now actually have a clear goal. I know it's going to take a lot of studying, and psychology is also an abstract type of science. It's not just linear like doctor, let's say. I'm not sure about doctors. I'm just talking here about my opinion, my understanding. I'm not sure about anything. But I think when you become a doctor, you have these years, you have this specific knowledge. But with psychology, I don't think that you have to prove to yourself. You have to go out there and meet people, get connections to get a job later on. It's not just that you become a counselor or a therapist just like that. You have to first work around, get experience, get to know people. I think that's the abstract form. It's like art with an art degree, but I think it's like 100 times better. An art degree, you can learn everything by yourself, but I want to have that license to work with clients, to work with people. That's my goal, to sit down and people come to me, they have problems, try to deal with them. I learn something, they learn something, I help them. That's what I want to do. It's like pretty similar with YouTube, but YouTube is, I want to get an education now that, I can read all of this psychology by myself. I can learn everything by myself, but if in the end I couldn't work in a medical facility, I couldn't work in a school environment because I'm not certified. It's just my knowledge. Even though, let's say, I could know more than other psychologists, I don't think that I could make it just like that without the degree. So I think that degree is worth something like that if you look at it like that, and in today's world, I'm sure that there's a lot of positions that you don't need. Everybody's saying that you don't need a university degree, and I agree. For some people don't need, some people need it. That's pretty much it. But a lot of people, I think that's where the problem is, that a lot of people just go into university to just feel comfortable, feel that like their future is secured, which is not, by the way, and just drink, smoke, party. That's it. My goal, I actually know right now how painful it is, how much suffering there was, and still is, to study 2 years, not to study 2 years, but when I finished high school 2 years ago, and now I'm studying that same stuff again, it takes a lot to study. And of course, this is just high school exams, but later on, it's going to be more interesting for me. And it's really hard. And I think if you just go to university with and you have a specific goal, I think that is how, when you can actually tell yourself, okay, I should go to university. If you're in the 12th grade and parents are pushing you to go to university, don't. If you don't specifically know what you want to do, maybe you don't need a university degree. Take a gap year like I did and work. At first I traveled in Erasmus programs, which was a good experience, but I think I overdid it, like 9 projects or something like that. I traveled for 9 months, which I think it's too much. 1 month is okay, I think. And then you can just settle down, get a job, and hustle on that specific thing you want. Or if you don't know what you want to do, just hustle on different types of things. Just try to learn. You know, you're still sitting with your parents, you just finished high school. They're not gonna throw you out just because you don't go to university. I don't know what your case is, at least in mine. They don't throw you out. I just felt responsible to go and earn some money, to not just borrow from my parents all the time because they didn't agree with my decision, and I didn't want to make them feel bad. I don't know. Just took responsibility, went out to get there to get some money, feel better for myself. So, but if you actually have a goal, like me now for studying, now actually a calculated decision, not just going to art school, then I think you should make a priority to actually separate yourself from the crowd. So when I'm going to university, I'm not going to go there for the parties, for just slacking off. I'm going there for a specific education, and I'm going to try my best to study and understand stuff. I'm going to study not just what I need, more, because psychologists, if you want to be a psychologist, you need to constantly be learning, constantly expand your knowledge. And another thing is that my meaning of life is to reach an ideal of myself, which is not possible, but I mean, better said is to just strive for that potential, always striving. I think it's better than nothing. And YouTube is good one way, but that's how I wanted to challenge myself more, to just study and try to reach that. So what about building discipline in the Shire? I know I keep probably going off topic, but building discipline in the Shire is when you don't just leave to relocate somewhere physically. You know, Elisha Long just preaches, leave your home, work, which is a good thing, but you can do a lot inside the Shire. Right now, I feel comfortable, I have food down, I have a home, internet, I don't need to worry about bills, and it's the Shire, it's the comfort, and my goal is to leave it one day, but I'm not sure if it's a best thing for me now, because if I do leave, I would need to get a job, and then all of my time would be consumed by this minimum wage job, and I couldn't be able to just sit here and study. I would be able, but it would be so much more difficult, to the point that if you get back from home in your 12-hour shift, I don't know if it's possible for me. I'm just looking at it realistically, it's not. It's possible, but it's kind of hard. My point is that if you are in the Shire and you don't plan to move out anytime soon, or maybe you are planning to move out soon, but you still want to build more discipline, just start here. If you're still in school, in 12th grade to 11th grade, whatever, if you're still in school and separate yourself from your friends invite you to go to drink, to smoke weed, I don't know, play video games. No, hang out with your friends, like a pretty decent amount, I guess, but don't participate in those degenerative activities. Sit down to study. Maybe actually just think about studying, because what I think just is a really bad thing nowadays is that a lot of these boomers, they keep saying go to college, go to university, but they don't say why. That's why in 12th grade I don't regret any of the time when I failed, but in the 12th grade, watching porn, addicted to porn, masturbation, video games, what else? Was lazy, didn't have any ambition. And people say, yeah, teachers say and parents say, study. And I always ask, why? Why? No answer. Oh, so you can get a job, so you can have a better future. Okay. And I look at my parents, I look at my teachers, all these beta males, not everybody, but some of them, not the kind of men you would get inspired by. Just live relatively average lives, nothing going on, just go because future is secure. That doesn't make any sense when I actually started to research for myself, read philosophy, self-improvement, nofap, cold showers, mini habits. That's when I discovered, there's an ideal. And many people, and I'm not saying that university is an ideal. I'm just saying that now I know that you should aim for something higher than yourself, but not something that just for the comfort, just for these little activities. So all people always say go to university. They don't know what else is out there. They don't know the possibilities of the internet and how you can actually make money, you can actually make a living, not only by being a YouTuber, many other ways. But they just keep saying go to university. Now it's a decision for myself. Nobody was pushing me to try to go to university to retake my exams. This is my choice now. I want this. And I have these online classes with my Lithuanian teacher, extra classes for to retake my exams. And there are these two guys that are in high school still. Well, were in high school. Their exam has already passed. But these two guys, not guys, boys, not even guys, you can hear it in their, I really feel bad for them because they have no ambition. They express, at least they just joke around, kids, teenagers. I'm not saying that I'm old or wise or something like that. I'm just saying that how it feels as I'm 21 years old and they're like 18, 19. It's still a big gap in my opinion, at least in life experience. It's just in 2 years, a lot of stuff can happen. So they just, laugh, don't take seriously their work, they don't do their homework, And then I got curious at last lesson together. I asked them, what is your ambition? What is your ambition? What do you want to be? Or how, if you want to go to university, and if you do, what kind of program? And they said a lot, a high stuff. I think like a programmer, a doctor. No way. They're not gonna get in because, as I've gathered from them, they don't participate in any other high school activities. They slack off in Lithuanian class. They slack off in other classes, and they don't get. And the teacher always says so disappointed. You guys should do this. Nobody explains why. So I'm here to explain why. because that's what I would wanted to hear in the past. Why? Nobody said why. So in university, why you want to go to university? Think about the end goal. Like, I dated this girl, not dated, but just had this little fling. She was a nice girl, nice personality, good girl. But, and it's not the deal breaker or something like that, but I just remember this type of idea when, I asked what she was studying. She was studying like business, finances, I think. And I asked what was the end goal, what is going to be your work position, where you want to work for the rest of your life, probably. And she said, I don't know. Just when I finish university, I'll see you where. That is the worst mentality. Because if you hadn't thought about that end goal, if you go to university, that's the same reason I went to for that art degree. Because I'm so glad I dropped out. Because I would still be there, probably just drinking and smoking with other art people, not caring, not focusing on my life. Not saying she's a good girl, she made better choices than me, but it's still, if you don't have an end goal, where does that lead you? So that's my point. In the Shire, you are the hero here. You are the modern hero, and your goal right now is to be better every day, and just build yourself upon in the Shire. If you can't leave physically your home, you don't need to relocate. Just maybe find a job. Maybe start studying. Maybe start learning stuff, reading books, reading fiction, reading self-improvement, whatever you want. Just start by addressing that you need to have a goal, and you need to work towards it. And just sit down and do the work. That's all it takes. And it's hard, but I think it's worth it. It's worth it. So I think I just wanted to share my feelings with you guys. This video obviously has no structure, but let me know if you like these kind of videos where I just talk about stuff, not editing, not making fancy transitions. If you like it, leave a like, and leave a comment down below. Share your stories with the rest of us. How you plan to build the discipline in the Shire. If you plan to leave home, you plan to take your exams, whatever. Just chill in this little community here. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay on your journey.